Halloween. The one time of the year where you can dress as whoever the hell you want and be whatever you want for the night. A young boy named Jordan and his three friends all go out every year trick-or-treating, collecting candy and sweets. They all have their homemade costumes. Jordan, he dresses as Batman, a cheaply made mask with a shirt with the Batman symbol on. And then there was his friend Ted, who wore a striped jumper and a Freddy Krueger mask with butter knives put onto a tool glove. Then there was Kevin, who wore some overalls with it saying Bob and covered in grease, being some kind of mechanic. Then there was Joe, dressed as Chewbacca from the film Star Wars, wearing the Chewbacca mask and a furry coat of sorts. The boys all head off trick-or-treating, collecting as much candy as they can, filling up their pillowcases to the brim. In fact, they have to end up going back home to Jordan's house and emptying all the candy into other bags before heading out again. As the night drew closer to its end, Jordan thought it was time to call it a night and collect their bikes. But of course, Kevin, he then suggests that they go down this street, a street called Wicker Street. Kevin being the arrogant tough one and always feeling like he was being made fun of for his cheap costume. Also, the other boys were wearing masks, feeling hot and sweaty and them having to take them off in between houses. Kevin felt smart not wearing one. The boys all agree to then go down this quiet road of Wicker Street. But when they go there, they find the whole street and the houses are dark, like no one out at all for the festivities. Feeling a bit uneased, Jordan tells his friends that something doesn't feel right, and that screaming can be heard, thinking it's some audio track from it being Halloween. Kevin tells them to not be such wimps, and to venture down into the street. Finding no lights on, they do see one house that is lit up at the end of the street. As they walk further down, they see trees and plant life overtaking some of the houses. They then find that house with some Halloween decors here and there and trees with vegetation on. They are then greeted by an old woman who looks witch-like, crooked and quite unsettling, thinking it's a very good convincing Halloween costume and that screams can be heard from in the house. The old lady welcomes them, saying, "Come on in, boys, and enter my maze. Whoever makes it out will receive a very special prize." Wondering what was the prize, the boys agreed to this challenge and went into the maze. When entering the maze, it was seen as dark and damp. Jordan, finding it so unsettling and claustrophobic, he couldn't even see his own hands, it was that pitch black. And then he could not hear his friends Ted, Kevin and Joe, wondering where they are, thinking that they have snuck out and they're playing some sick, twisted Halloween prank on him. Unable to move, he tried going backwards, but it was too narrow. Thinking, could this woman have changed the maze, as it was made from cardboard and felt that way? He then felt the only option was to move forward. Then he reaches the end, where he hears this voice telling him that he has reached the end. He then sees himself in the dark house and hearing voices from all round, not knowing what's going on, just feeling that unsettling presence, until he sees a door swing open with a bright orange light. Walking towards it, he finds it's a furnace, a boiler room, and there he sees his three friends, Ted, Kevin and Joe, tied up. Looking at them, the flames in the furnace get higher and higher and stronger and thicker, so much so that the boys' skin begin to melt, having severe burns around them. Jordan then quickly takes one of the butter knives off Ted's Freddy Krueger costume and starts to cut through the ropes. Kevin, on the other hand, with his overalls and his tool belt that he also wore, managed to cut himself free with a screwdriver he had in this tool belt of his. He then had a wrench, and with that wrench he then started to beat and hit Joe in the face, hitting him, beating him with it. The voices telling him that they must choose one friend. Jordan also remembering that this voice also told him that they must choose one friend. Eventually, Jordan took the wrench off Kevin, but by then Joe was dead, his face caved in, unable to tell that it was him anymore. They then make their way out of the house, and then soon find that the house that they were in is just a burnt down abandoned house in a wooded area. Wondering what the hell they had just gone through. All the other houses around the street also gone, nothing there. They then make their way home, unable to talk to one another, and the only time that they ever saw one another was during the police interviews, as they had to talk of all they had done of that night. Kevin was sentenced to prison for murder. As for Jordan and Ted, they never spoke to one another again. But around a year later, Jordan had heard that Kevin was being released from prison, or juvie, as he was only a child. Jordan remembering Kevin telling him that he is on his list and he will make him pay for ratting him out. And this was all in time for Halloween. Ever since then, Jordan has been on his guard and telling other fellow trick-or-treaters and their friends, don't let them go down Wicker Street. Happy Halloween to you all.